Securities, an education and information firm on the Gold Coast in Queensland, Australia. And every morning I actually go through what happened overnight, global markets, and try to forecast what we may see today and the next few days on our market and globally. And by the way, we'll show you what is hot and what is not, and what you should hold and what you should fold. And by the way, if you have any particular feedback you would like to give us, we would really appreciate you talking to us and give us some feedback. Well, overnight and from around the globe, we start with Wall Street, where we've seen the market in America nearly 25,000. We haven't seen that level for many months, or I can say weeks at least. And 2.2% rise. And remember that the market on Monday was closed, or at least on Monday night, Queensland, that's US time. And we've had 2 negative days, slight drop, not much. And then now we see a rise in the market. And we've seen the same thing with the S&P 500, 1.2%. The Nasdaq, which has been a winner for several weeks, had only a very small increase overnight, only 15 points, 9,300. By the way, the S&P 500 flirted with the 3,000 level for the first time in many weeks. In Europe, the Stoxx 50 index, which comprises most major European markets, was also flirting with the 3,000 level. The FTSE in London was up 1.2%. In Germany, the DAX was up 1%. In Japan, the Nikkei index was up 2.6%. And in Shanghai, was up 1.1%. On our market yesterday, we've nearly gone up nearly 3%, one of the best rises in many weeks. 164 points on the back, very strong performance by the banks. The banks have been, dropping behind every other sector. Well, the financial happened to be one of the best stock yesterday. Unfortunately, though, the futures this morning showing that the market most likely will open lower when it opens. How it's going to finish at the end of the day? Well, that's the $64 question. Gold, 1,724. You can see the drop is $3.50. However, when you compare yesterday morning with this morning, remember this particular rise or fall is in relation to what happened the previous night. So obviously the price in the morning yesterday was 1,743 US per ounce. However, it continued to drop right through the day, and again this morning was a further drop of about $3.50. And silver, $17.52, 8 cents lower. Copper was down, and Brent oil up nearly 2%. However, West Texas crude oil was down 0.8%. Soybeans down 1.75%. Remember, no change from the last few days, so something is happening here why soybean is not moving. Okay, the Australian dollar versus the US, 66.5, a very big rise in compared to yesterday morning. And against the euro, slightly higher. Against the pound, again also higher. And in the New Zealand dollars, 107, which is constant. And for those of you who actually trade Bitcoin, Bitcoin continues to fall. It was nearly 10,000 late last week. Is now 8,850 US, a drop of $50 overnight, down 360 the day before. And that converts to approximately 13,320. Remember, this was actually 15,500 several days ago. And the drop yesterday was 280, and the day before was 570. We've had a lot of drops, as I said, in the last few days. Now, in terms of the best performer yesterday was the banks. Actually, we've seen the banks going up, across the board. And okay, and look at the charts now. This is the American market, the weekly. Mind you, it flirted around the 50% and now it's heading towards the 61.8. The question is, if it breaks through the 61.8 Fibonacci retracement, we are likely to see a further increase in the market. I suspect that it will flirt around the 61.8 for a while, reverses back towards the 50%, and then who knows what's going to happen after that. Depends on the economic factors in America, and that of course will be the GDP, will be about the return to work, any recurrence of the coronavirus, and of course if they find a vaccine or some good positive results on the vaccine, the market will get very excited. Yesterday we see here the market was much higher, well above the 25,000, but towards the end of the day it retraced back and took some of the profit away, but we still ended up with a green candle. And remember, there is a gap between the highest point the day before and the bottom of yesterday. That usually they say every gap gets filled sometime in the future. In terms of indicators, parabolic stop and reverse, bullish. The stochastic is bullish. 9 is above the 21-day moving averages, that's bullish. The candle have been hitting the upper band of the Bollinger Band, that's very positive as well. Remember, however, for the investor, the long-term investor, we like to see the orange, that thick orange line, which is the 50-day moving average, getting closer to the 100, and the 100 to be closer to the 200. The fact that the 200 is above the 100 is above the 50, that is, in the technical analysis, long-term bearish. Long-term meaning months away. Are we going to see a reversal? Well, you can see that's the first time we can see a kink here, you know, like a U-shaped reversal. So if that continues, then obviously we'll get closer to the pink, which is the 100-day moving average. Look at our market. I said to you for several days, you know, that the American market hit the 50% and flirted around the 50%. However, our market, from the highest point of 7,200 all the way down to 4,400, and then retraced back the 38.2% Fibonacci retracement. Now is getting very close to the 50. We will see a cross over the 50 and flirt around the 50% for a while, for a few weeks, and then we'll see what happens after that. And look what happened yesterday. We had a fantastic day, 2 strong days, but yesterday the banks were the biggest winners. Again, the stochastic is bullish, parabolic stop and reverse, the red dots bullish. Again, the 50-day moving average is starting to flatten and starting to hopefully converge towards the 100-day moving average, the pink, and we'll see what happens with the pink towards the 200. Because they're many days moving averages, they take a long time to form. So don't expect a very quick change in the direction. However, we watch and we analyze and we make some predictions. And by the way, the 9-day is above the 21-day here moving average, and that is still very short-term bullish. Now, to confirm what's happening in the market, look what happened to the volume yesterday. Look at how many days above here where we see the advances exceeding the declines. And the volume yesterday was a huge volume, nearly 3.9 or 3 point something billion transaction, the highest in many days. So remember, this is actually a very important indicator. The volume is up, advances greater than declines, and this is the week on week. You can see 5 weeks in a row the advances happen to be greater than the declines, and that is very bullish as well. In terms of our mechanical system, we try to forecast what's happening. Now we can see that the American market, more blue lines, blue cells indicating that a bullish. Gold, for some reason, has gone back a bit. For the long term is bullish, expecting inflation perhaps one day will appear in America. However, we were actually bullish in the beginning of the week, and now we are neutral, so we're losing a bit of the prowess of the gold. However, silver, being an industrial product, continues to be bullish across the conservative trader, the aggressive trader, and the very aggressive trader. The investor is neutral. Investor is a long-term, month over month. Conservative traders actually look at the weekly and the daily charts, while the investor looks at the monthly and the weekly charts. And we look for 5 indicators out of 8 saying the same thing. In terms of oil, crude oil, we are still bullish on the West Texas crude oil. And corn, if you're trading this commodity, we are very bearish on corn. And soybeans, indication of what's happening in America, between China and America. Slight improvement in the soy. However, the price of the soy continues to go down. The Australian dollar, bullish. And obviously we've seen bullish for quite a number of days. And the euro bullish. The British pound, we were actually bearish, and we're starting to see some neutral point here. So that means that it's likely that we can see some reversal in the market. Now, in terms of our market, let's look at the banks. We had a lot of bearishness in the banks. You can see here ANZ, CBA, NAB, and Suncorp and Westpac. And look here, from yesterday results, we've gone neutral on Westpac, Suncorp neutral, and CBA starting to be bullish for the very aggressive trader, and so is ANZ. By the way, ANZ was up nearly 5% yesterday, and same with Westpac. So again, Newcrest Mines, even though we're likely to see Newcrest Mine falling down today because the price of gold down. However, look, we're still bullish for across. So maybe this is an opportunity to trade Newcrest Mine as it goes down. So be aware and be careful about what you do. All right, well, in terms of stocks that happen to have excessive volume, what we do, we scan the market and we see which stock in the top 50 above here on the up or down that had excessive volume, in other words, above the moving average. We look at the volume over 50 days, and we look at that moving average over 50 days and compare it with yesterday volume. For instance, Qantas Airways, the price was up 5.4%, and the volume 19 is average. Yesterday we've seen 32 million transactions. So higher volume, higher price. This indicates a bullish trend. Orica also had a nice price increase, and so is GPT. 2 days in a row GPT have seen increase. And for those more aggressive, for the mid caps, all the stocks below 1 billion, as you can see here, all these are above 1 billion, here are below 1 billion. And you've got Southern Cross Media. The price was up 15.6%, and look at the volume. The average volume is 13.9 million, and yesterday we've seen 85 million transactions. Is it worth seeing? Yes. Bellevue Gold continues to go higher and higher and higher. Unfortunately, we cannot trade CFDs against Bellevue Gold. But Bellevue Gold has been appearing on our radar for the last 7 continuous days. Okay, and you've got a lot of companies here. And by the way, if you want a copy of this, all you have to do is go to our website, and you'll find it on our website. Finally, our disclaimer. Everything we said here today is for general advice only. There is no guarantee that anything that we touch on is going to turn millions of dollars of profit. So be aware of the risk appetite that you have, and before you take any action, please consult with us or with your professional advisor. And if you have any questions, all you have to do is ask. This is our details. You can write to me at George@FS Securities. FS stands for full service. George@FS Securities, plural.com.au. And if you ring my mobile, I'm available 7 days a week, almost 12 hours a day. 61 for the country code. You don't need the 0. 61 411 25 9526 For the local people, 0411259526. Anyway, happy day and happy transactions, and hopefully you make some money.